All right, so good morning, and we'll get started. So we're going to start sitting in Sukhasana and having a block or something there. We're going to have the pigeon show up kind of early on in the class, so you might want more than your end of class support for that pigeon. All right, so let us crawl our way back to our mat. And we'll sit in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And leaning back a little on the arms, or if it works better for you to hold the knees and use those to brace against, you can do that. And whatever little shifting around you want to do. And then finishing with that, landing on those sitting bones, hands on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, feeling your breath. And feeling your body, notice anything that you notice. But don't become attached to whatever you notice. It's just there, floating around in the background. And feeling your breath, balancing that effort and ease through the spine. What can you let go of? What do you need maybe a little more of? And then let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing those arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing them down, and we'll go twice more. And then coming forward, pouring out and over, breathing across the back of the body. And then we will walk our hands over to the right diagonal. So I'm being the mirror here, but it doesn't really matter which right and left as we walk our hands over to the right diagonal. And then left hand on the right knee or maybe on the floor if that works better as we twist open. Pressing away with the back of the right shoulder, the back of the right arm. Pressing forward with the left shoulder. So really do that twisting action through the spine, not just the reaching of the arm. And then reaching that right arm over the ear for a little side bend, a little round. And then swooping it back around to the center. Coming up, unfurling the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, landing back up on those sitting bones. And let's change the cross up the legs. And coming forward. And then walking our hands over to the left diagonal. And right hand on the left knee as we twist open, or maybe hand on the floor. And there's a lot of reaching and pressing with that left arm, but then start that from the tailbone, really twisting the spine, pressing the whole left side of the rib cage back, pressing the right shoulder blade a little forward. And then reaching that left arm over the ear, rounding a little. And a big swoop around back to the center. We'll hold a couple breaths there, evening out the two sides. And then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And let's come up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. But taking your time getting there. So, I'm not even there yet. And maybe using the extra wide feet, especially since we didn't really do any leg lengthening yet. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finishing up with whatever you're doing to find the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. Inhaling up to the sitting bones, exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs out the heels. Let's come down, sitting back into child's pose, really making it a pose, pulling back. And coming back up to downward facing dog. Now we're going to do the swivel feet. It's really a swivel in our waist though. So make your feet about about the length of your foot, distance apart. So probably a little wider than hip distance apart, but not super wide. All right, and then we're going to swivel those feet over to the right, all the way onto the edges of the feet. So you can get the outer right heel and the left inner heel all the way onto the floor. And then there's that big swivelly twist through the waist. And you inhale up to the sitting bones, exhale, pour down the backs of the legs here. Swivel dog. And then back to the center. Let's try the other side. Swiveling the feet to the left. But what we're really doing is twisting our hips to the right and then resisting by twisting from the waist up to the left. And can you still inhale up to those sitting bones and exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs. So try to press up like you're in a downward facing dog. And coming back to the center. Taking a breath. Coming down, sitting back to child's pose. Yeah, that's harder. It really changes the weight on the arms. And even though we're thinking of it all, or I'm talking about it all relative to kind of the legs and the hips, it's actually a big challenge for the arms and shoulders. So let's come forward into the Sphinx. Which might be challenging for your arms and shoulders too, but at least it's familiar. And then pulling back with those elbows long through the top of the head, a little tuck down with the tailbone. Reaching back through the legs, thinking there's our pigeon pose, back leg again. And maybe there's a little bit more lift, trying to lift from the back muscles first and then the arms. Help. And coming down, forehead to the hands. Deep breath. And let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And let's lengthen forward to the plank. Let's see about the side plank. So we're going to swivel our feet over to the right, landing on the inner and outer foot. You can always side plank with both hands on the floor, lifting this one or lifting the left one up. There we go. Another option is to stack that left leg on its top. And then we will come back to the plank. And so make enough space between your feet so that that right foot is going to be able to get to the floor. We're going to go on the other side. So here we are in the plank. So as you come around, you don't want your right heel to land on your left toe. So there's enough space there. And then when you take the arm up, when you have the right foot in front there, it's a little bit more stabilizing, and maybe you can get that right foot up on top of the left, or maybe not. And then coming back to the plank, you can vinyasa to the floor onto your belly here, or come into child's pose and come to the Sphinx, either one. So I'm going to go into the kneeling chaturanga, into the small cobra, and then coming down back to the Sphinx. You know, we're all wondering what happened to that pigeon pose that I was talking about. All right. And maybe there's a little bit more lift in that Sphinx and the elbows will come up or lighten up. And calming down. Let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And taking 3 deep breaths here. Looking between the hands to jump or step forward. And into the concave, back halfway up. Lengthen out a little more, pouring over. If you've got the block handy and you want to put your hands on the block, go ahead and we'll take 3 breaths here, really lengthening up through the legs, which could still mean your knees are bent. You can still lengthen up with bent knees and pouring down through the top of the head. And then coming up to standing, carrying yourself up, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Let's circle those shoulders 3 times. Up the front, down the back. Inhale and exhale. And then going the other direction. One more, front to the back, interlock the fingers. And then really flex those wrists there with the backs, the hands to the floor. Feeling that nice counter stretch in the wrist. And then lifting up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming over, pressing out through the hands. And release the hands. Concave back, halfway up, folding over. Let's step back with the left leg into the long row lunge. So our right leg is in front, and we will twist to the right. And then we're going to the sling. So we've got a little more foot pivoting. We're going onto the outer edge of our left foot. As we turn the right toes 90 degrees. So on the left leg, it's like I'm doing a side plank. And then letting that left hip sink down. So get that left outer heel all the way onto the floor. There you go. It feels weird, huh? Yeah. And then kind of sink down. Stretching along the left side. So we make a side bend on our left side. There we go. And then a big press up and over, swiveling back to the lunge. There. And then we will step back to the plank, vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up, reaching down through that left heel, bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants, and through to the lunge. And we'll bring our left knee down, coming into Anjayasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And let's circle the arms all the way around and back up overhead. And then a circle around and down to come to the eagle pose with the right arm under. And And release the arms. And here at last is the pigeon. Walking that right foot across, left right knee to the side, maybe grabbing a block for the hip. And then we'll Cobra action. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. We reach back through the left leg. And then coming forward and over. So you may find as you come forward or after you've been there for a few breaths that you can take the block out and things will be fine. Especially when we're doing that Cobra action lift where what the block is really helpful for is the back leg. Usually lets you get your spine a little bit more lifted up and over when you're on the block. But here we are in the sleeping pigeon. And coming up, lengthening yourself up, pausing in that Cobra action to see where that is now. And then we're going to swoop our left leg around and across the right into Namaste and Drasana. So we have the left leg on top. Standing on your left foot, left knee to the ceiling, long through the top of the head. Let's twist to the left. Inhale, lots of space. Exhale and twist. Coming back to the center, and we'll disentangle our legs, coming up onto our feet, and expanding into the forward bend. Breathing here, and 3, 2, and 1. Utkatasana, the chair pose, sitting back, reaching forward and up, long back, lifting those arms. And let's twist right again with the wide arms. And then remembering way back when we were sitting with the crossed legs, we were doing our inside-outside twist. So we're doing lots of press and reach with the right arm, but make sure that's going through the whole spine as well. And then we're going to reach the right arm forward and let it have a little curve and contract your abdominal muscles up into that curve. And then swooping that right arm all the way back around and down to the floor into the forward bend. And coming up to standing. Big front body yawn. And let's do that twist again, just in case we were a little confused. Coming into the chair pose. Twisting to the right, wide arms, reaching up through that right arm. Reaching forward with the right arm and let it curve a little as you contract and arch up into your right side a little more. And then a big swoop around with the right arm, coming down to the forward. Coming up to standing. Big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down. Inhale and exhale. Namaste, steadiness. And we'll interlock the fingers. Getting that wrist stretch and flex there. And lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. Humming over, pressing out through the hands. And release the hands. Concave back, folding over. We'll step back with the right leg so we have our left lunge. And twisting to the left. For the rope ball. There we go. And then here we go to the sling. So we have to really pivot both feet. Yep, and let that all that right outer heel go all the way to the floor. It'll go. Have faith. Let it go. There you go. Yeah, and then it's kind of unusual if you haven't really gotten their pressure on that outer right leg. It might take a while to get used to, and then you work on pressing that down. There we go, good. And then you're sort of doing an extreme lizard lunge thing with your left leg. Some of you might be able to touch the floor there with that right under hip. And then we'll press up, kind of like what we were just doing in Utkatasana, to swivel ourselves back around and continuing on our way, stepping back to the plank, Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift our left leg. Dog at the high fire height. And through to the lunge. And then we'll bring that right knee down, coming up in Anjayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And circling the arms. And then another circle halfway down to the eagle pose, left arm under. And release the arms, and let us go to the pigeon. Walking that left foot across and bringing the left knee to the diagonal. Getting a block there. And inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. So you might find with the block, you can walk your hands closer to yourself. Maybe even put that left hand up onto your left leg, yeah, or you can use the gorilla hands. Yeah, see, then you can get a little bit more lift and stretch there if you want. If you want, you don't always need to get a little more. All right, so we're reaching back through the right leg. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then we will come forward and over. Maybe you're going to keep that block or keep it for a little while longer, or take it out. And breathing here. here, sleeping pigeon. But don't really sleep, just to be mindful and easeful. Insofar as the pigeon has any sense of ease for you, but it still might be that thinking of the pigeon as an easeful pose is just a thought exercise. And then let's make our way back up, and we'll go back to that Cobra action for a few more breaths, maybe without the block, just seeing how that feels. And then we will swing that right leg around into Namaste. Standing on the right foot, right knee to the ceiling. And we will twist to the right. Inhale, lots of space, exhale and twist. And coming back to the center, let's disentangle our legs, coming up into the forward bend. And taking 3 deep breaths here, really extending those legs out. Utkatasana, the chair pose. Twisting to the left, wide arms. And that reach and press with the left arm and getting that working through the whole spine as well. And then reach that left arm forward over the ear, and the left arm can curve a little and then contract up into it. And then a big swoop around with the left arm into the forward bend again. Breathing there. And then we'll do that once again. All right, chair pose. Twisting left wide arms. Reaching that left arm forward, contracting up into it. And swooping that left arm around back into the forward bend. And coming up to standing, big front body flat. Pressing those arms down and around to Namaste. Breathing here. And let's come over. Inhale up. And exhale, diving over. Concave back, folding over. Let's step back with the left leg. So we're in our right lunge again. And we will just come up into the high lunge. And twisting to the right, arms parallel to the floor. And floating that left hand down into the twist, and then we will sling, swiveling the feet, sinking that left outer hip. And then springing up and swiveling back to the lunge, stepping back to the plank. And let's lower ourselves to the floor. Chaturanga, maybe coming to child's pose and forward any means, and we'll be in the small cobra once we're there. And let's hold that. Pull the elbows a little more back, draw a little more forward and up, reach a little more back through the legs. Leave the lighten up on the hands if you're pressing hard. And coming down. All right. Let's lift back up in that small cobra, lifting our right leg as well. Inhale and exhale and holding. 3, 2, 1. Reaching down. Left leg. Lengthen and lift, holding. 3, 2, and 1. Coming down. And then let's do both. Lifting up and holding. 6, 5, 4, coming down. Take a couple breaths. All right, and then let's bow pose. So bend those knees. Oh, maybe this is good enough. All right, reaching back, use the interlocked fingers. Sometimes nice just to do that for a moment, the interlocked fingers, getting those upper arms working there and rolled out in place, and or getting hold of the ankles, and the ankles press into the hands, and then you lengthen to lift. And as we come down, maybe pull the heels toward the sitting bones for an extra stretch, as long as your knees are okay with that. And letting that go. Let us peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And if you'd like to go through a vinyasa here, go ahead, do another vinyasa. Otherwise, here we are. Let's lift our right leg. And dog at the high fire hydrant. Maybe waterfall into the wild thing, or not. And then we will make our way through to the lunge and into Anjayasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. Circling the arms all the way around. And then halfway around to come into the eagle pose, right arm under. And releasing those arms, and we'll walk the right foot across to the left into the pigeon, maybe with your block. And so this time, as we're doing our Cobra action, we're going to have various bending the left leg options. Option number one is bend the left leg and just hold it there. Maybe you have to squinch your knee back a little. So in some ways, especially those who are more flexible, this might be the difficult one, to just hold that leg there without getting hold of the foot. Next option is that left arm comes around, so it's good to go for the inside of the left foot. Yeah, it's left leg back there, or not. And then you can start trying to pull it into the elbow. Long arms do help a lot. If that's my long arms. Into more of the mermaid. Next option, you could pick your right arm up and reach around and get hold of your left hand. I will not be doing that one. All right, here we are somewhere. And then we will come forward. If you've got hold of that left foot or ankle and you want to take it with you, go ahead. Or you can come forward and then go back and find it. And then if you've had hold of that left leg long enough, letting it go. For those of you who might have used the block there, who don't usually, if you were trying to do that, getting hold of the left leg, you might have noticed that sitting on the block can actually help with that a lot. The more anchored you have your right hip, the easier it is to do things with the left leg back there. Now here we are, sleeping pigeon. And come up. And let's fling that left leg around into Namaste Andrasana again, or maybe taking it down into Golukasana, the cow face pose. Either one. And if you're in that cow face, trying to find that squeeze together, pressing down with the knees. And we're going to twist to the left again. Inhale and exhale. Maybe adding the half binding, wrapping that left arm around. Roll the shoulder down, pull the elbow down. Coming back to the center, disentangle the legs. So we're going to keep it simple here. It will not be Utkatasana. Coming into the forward bend. Breathing. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down all the way around to Namaste in front. 3 deep breaths here, and then we'll go around on the left. All right, coming over. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over, stepping back with the right leg. And we will come up in high lunge. It can always be the warrior one if needed. And we'll twist to the left, arms parallel to the floor. And floating the right hand down into the twist. So now you have to turn your back heel up and then slide that back foot back a little more. All right, and then pivoting to the sling, turning the feet, turn that left foot as well onto the heel. There we go, and there it is. And then sinking down a little or a lot. And pressing up. And swivel to the lunge. Stepping back to the plank. And we're going to lower ourselves to the floor through the vinyasa, or you could come to child's pose and come forward, either one. And then we will all go to a small cobra. No matter where we landed, maybe we landed there, and we're going to hold that small cobra, reaching back through the legs, reaching through the upper body. On down. Breathe. All right, let's lift up with the left leg lifting first. Inhale and exhale, breathing 3, 2, and 1. Bringing that leg down. So it might be your cobra is getting smaller with every iteration here. As you get tired, that's fine. Lifting the right leg. Just feeling where you are now. What's your best cobra at this point? And coming down. All right, now we're going to lift the legs and the upper body. And breathing here. And 6, 5, down. Take a few moments just breathing. And then we'll be going to the boat pose. Reaching through the legs, bending the knees. Maybe this is good here. It is good here, but maybe we're going to move on or not. And you can try those interlocked fingers, maybe just or getting hold of the ankles and lengthen till then. And calming down. Maybe a little extra stretch, pulling the heels toward the sitting bones if your knees are all right with that. And letting that go. And then we'll peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And you could go through another vinyasa or 2 or 3 here. And then we'll lift our left leg. And dog at the high fire hydrant. Maybe water falling to the wild thing. And then we will make our way to the lunge, to Anjayasana, the kneeling lunge. And come. Encircling the arms. And then a half circle and around to the eagle pose arms, left arm under. Or sometimes we just go with whatever arm got there. And release the arms into the pigeon. Maybe with that block. All right, and so as we do our Cobra action here, all sorts of possible add-ons. All right, add-on number 1, just bending that right leg. So I got to give it a little pull because my knee got stuck in the wrong place. All right, so that's an option, just to hold that, squeezing a little there. And then next one is taking that right hand back and finding the right foot or ankle back there. And then if you found that, maybe you can start wrapping the arm around to get the foot into the elbow. And like I said, long arms does make that easier. Also, if you're sitting on a higher block, that helps too, because it gets your back lifted up and you shorten the distance between your shoulder and your foot already. So we are wherever we are. Next possible option is you take that left hand off the floor and it reaches back and gets hold of the right hand. Something to think about. And then if you've got that right foot and you're enjoying that, take it with you as we come forward, or you can come forward and then reach back and get the right foot. Sometimes that's the easier way to get it if you want to do that. And when you've had enough of holding that right foot, you can let it go and settle a little more easily, perhaps into that sleeping pigeon. And and we will swing that right leg around into either Namaste and Drasana, or bring it down into Brahmasana. Right leg, yeah, the back leg. You were good, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think it came around and snuck under.
I think so.
As our legs are wont to do in both this Gomukhasana one and the Matsyendrasana, they'll try to go back to the first side we did, because that's already familiar. Because this is weird. Things are going all over. And our body will try to go back to where it felt it before. Anyway, here we are with the right leg on top, yes. And we will twist to the right. Inhale and exhale. And maybe adding a half binding with that right arm, rolling the shoulder out, pressing that right elbow down. And coming back to the center, we will disentangle those legs and just stretch them out in front. And we'll come forward in Paschimottanasana. Inhale and exhale, evening everything out. And then coming down and into Shavasana. Maybe, if you would like, using a Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees out to the side for your Shavasana, since we didn't do really much of any direct inner thigh stretching out. The dog at the high fire hydrant does, that sling front legs a little in that realm when we have the cross legs. But if you want a little more of that wide lateral direction, you bring the feet together, knees to the side. Inhale and exhale, letting go. Letting the breath get longer and deeper. And then breathing back into your body. Moving the fingers and toes, maybe circling the wrists and ankles. If you're Baddha Konasana, you need to extend those legs for any wrists or ankle circlings. And stretching those arms up overhead. Bend the knees. And making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. And taking a few more moments inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming. Here we are.